Hello, I'm Erik Robey.
And I'm Johnelka Stafford. Welcome to Anne Arundel County Week in Review. Today, we'll preview the annual Teen Summit and we'll meet our newest council member. But first, making headlines this week. In case you forgot, we're in the middle of primary season. I had to put an exclamation point on it because it seems like voters are just not excited enough. Early voting started this week in advance of the presidential primary set for April 3rd. The turnout was, well, not very good. Now there's a chance that means the polls will be busier on election day as people wait until the last minute. Here at Week in Review, we want to encourage everyone to get out there and do your civic duty. Get out and vote. You can also earn a little extra cash and become an election judge. If you're a Democrat or Republican, the Board of Election needs you. Plus, it's a great chance to get out and interact with your neighbors. If you want to be a judge, call 410-222-6600. You can also find more information at www.aacounty.org/elections. Of course, the Republican primary is a little bit juicier, with Newt Gingrich, Rick Santorum, and Mitt Romney still in a fairly close race. But even if you're a Democrat, you can vote for your preferences in congressional races and choose your delegates to the National Convention.
Well, if anyone can convince people to get out there and vote, Johnelka, it's you. I think that was just a very passionate plea to tell all our citizens, do your civic duty. Get out there. It's a primary election, but go out there and vote. So thanks for letting everybody know about that.
My pleasure.
Well, you're right. Primary day is just a few days away. So get out there and tell your precinct judge that Johnelka sent you to come vote today. And speaking of elections, folks, we had a winner in the race for student member on the County Board of Education. Nick Leffover, a junior at Old Mill Senior High School, took the most votes of 230 students participating and beat out two other very strong candidates. It's now up to the governor to make the formal appointment. Thanks to the Maryland Gazette, we have some fun facts about the student member on the Board of Education who serves a one-year term. Anne Arundel County is believed to be the only school board in the nation which grants full voting rights to the student member, including budget approval and hiring decisions. Nick is the fourth student from Old Mill to join the board. He will follow Jillian Buck from South River High School, who did a great job representing all the students of Anne Arundel County. Congratulations to Nick and best of luck on the Board of Education.
Attention teens! Every spring, there's a great event that features music and all sorts of fun activities like rock climbing. It also gives you and your parents a pressure-free chance to talk about some very serious issues you may be facing as a teenager. It's called the Teen Summit. The event is Saturday, April 28th at the Boys and Girls Club of Annapolis in Anne Arundel County. That's the Base Center off of West Street. Now, Erik, teenagers and their parents can choose to participate in several discussions about serious issues like drug abuse, teen pregnancy, those sorts of things. I was looking over the titles of these sessions and I thought it would be fun to have you tell us what you think each one is about. Think you can do it?
Probably not, but you know what? People on this show have become accustomed to me embarrassing myself, so go ahead, Johnelka.
No, let's start with an easy one.
Okay.
The session is called I'm Not Good Enough.
I think I can do this one.
Okay.
I'm thinking, we're talking about teen depression and suicide. I'm thinking it must be depression and suicide.
That's right.
Yeah.
Obviously, these are very serious topics, but they also want to make the event fun, so they try to talk to the teen when they make up these names. Let's try another one.
Okay.
It's called Take Me to Ecstasy.
Johnelka, it's a family show. We got families that watch Week in Review.
Relax. It's about the dangers and use of pills like the drug ecstasy. We're all adults here, Erik, come on.
Yes,
we can talk about this stuff. What are you going to do when your kids become teenagers?
That's a long way away, Johnelka.
Well, let's try the next one. It's called Facebook Gangsters.
Oh my gosh, is this the Mafia Wars game? I hate when people are always doing that on Facebook.
No, it's one about peer pressure, actually, and especially bullying, especially these things and how they work on the social networking sites like Facebook. We've seen a lot of examples where a little post on Facebook can lead to really, really bad things. So that's why we don't want to get into it with people on Facebook.
Yeah, I got to agree. Me either. I want my kids to talk to people face to face, not on this Facebook thing. Let's do one more. I'm not doing real well at this.
No, it's okay. It's okay. You asked for it. So this is the last one. Doing work with no gloves on.
I do that all the time, and my wife yells at me because I get splinters in my hands. So it's got to be about doing work out with wood and splinters.
Actually, it's about preventing STDs and teenage pregnancy. I guess you were kind of close.
I think I was way off on that one.
You just don't know the lingo, Eric. You just don't know the lingo.
You know,
anyway, these things may seem uncomfortable, but Teen Summit provides a fun and relaxed environment for parents and teens to discuss how to approach these important issues because they're serious, very important. If you want to find out more, go to aacounty.org. That's www.aacounty.org and click on the banner that says Teen Summit.
Well, I tell you, I'm looking forward to this. I know I didn't do so well out there. I kind of embarrassed myself. I showed my age, Johnelka. Just a little, but you know, folks, it's a great thing. Get out there. It's a great cause. It's going to be a great program, I think. And we're going to have more Week in Review for you when we come back. As we head into our break, take a look at this week's community calendar. Stay with us, folks. We'll be right back with Peter Smith, our newest member of the Anne Arundel County Council. You won't want to miss this interview. Stay with us.
Seven 7,000 high school students drop out every school day. That's a line of desks more than 4 miles long. We can keep students in school. Visit boostup.org and take the first step.
And welcome back, folks. Well, after 108 votes, the County Council has finally selected a new member to replace Darrell Jones in District 1. And we're fortunate enough to have him on the show today. Councilman Pete Smith.
Thank you.
Welcome to the show and welcome to the Anne Arundel County Council.
Welcome.
I'm honored.
Councilman, and you say that word honored, and that's my first question there. You know, it's always good to see people in the military. You're a first lieutenant in the United States Marine Reserves. Coming on to the County Council, tell us a little bit about your background. Tell us a little bit, I mean, the folks out there want to know who their new councilman is. You're a Marine, you're a dad. Give us those highlights.
Well, I've been in the Marines or affiliated with the Marine Corps for the last 14 years, originally from Illinois, enlisted right out of high school. Unfortunately, I tried to get into the Naval Academy, and then I got to like the third round and didn't get accepted, and so I went enlisted into the Marine Corps. I was an intel specialist when I was enlisted. And during that first 10 years, I finished my degree and then received a commission. After that, right around my 13, 14-year mark, I decided to go ahead and go back off of active duty and went into the reserves, which is currently the sort of state that I'm in right now. But the military has been a blessing for me. I got to meet my wife in the military. One of my first duty stations was in Gitmo in Cuba back in the 90s. After that, I went to Camp Lejeune, North Carolina. Can't say that I was too impressed, especially being a young Marine. It's not, you have to really drive far, and then it's just, just a very unique experience. Unfortunately, after that, I went to Japan, which was probably one of a mixed blessing for me because I truly valued being in Japan. I think the culture, the people there, they were very friendly, and to be honest with you, if I couldn't live in the U.S., I think I would live in Japan. And but I was there for about close to a year and a half. And after I left there, I went from Japan to Fort Meade. And so that's how I got here, met my wife, and decided to stay here in 2006 because we bought a house here and we didn't want to move. I was going to say PCS, but a lot of readers probably don't understand that.
We know that from the military lingo.
So I didn't want to they were going to give me orders to the West Coast, and my wife had just got off of active duty. And we just decided that this was just the perfect place for us to sort of raise a family. She had gotten pregnant by that time, and neither one of us had a stable upbringing. When she was a child, she moved around a lot, and so did I. And so when we found this house and when she found her career, we just thought it was the perfect place for us to stay here and raise a family. And so that's sort of how I got here and why I'm still here, because we fell in love with the community, and and hopefully as a councilman, I'll be able to serve that community in a different capacity.
Well, we are so glad you decided to stay.
Thank you. Thank you.
So 1 week strong on
One
the
week.
council.
1 week.
1 week strong.
And it has felt like a year. I think I mentioned that
Really?
earlier. Just because it's been a whirlwind of activities trying to get around and meet
Yes.
a lot of different community leaders.
Mm-hmm.
And rightfully so. I think a lot of them was just curious. And part of the reason I think they want to meet me is because I was an unknown entity for the most part. I wasn't really out there. And so they're anxious to see who this individual is that'll be representing them, and they should be. And so, I don't blame them, and it's been very active. But I'm glad that's been the case.
Very good.
Well, Councilman, you're coming to the council when there's a lot of changes going on in the county, and especially I want to talk about what's going on across the street, as we say in Annapolis at the General Assembly. We've got a shift in teacher pension coming to the county. We have this new mandatory stormwater regulations that's going to be coming down to the local level from the state, mandating this. What are some initiatives that you're looking at long-term, short-term and long-term as you settle into your role as the 1st District Councilman?
I think short-term, what I want to focus on is some of the, honestly, is bringing some decorum back to the council. I think it's important that we as a legislative body earn the respect and the trust of the people that live in Anne Arundel County. Yeah. And so one of the first things I want to do is enable the current members to, and hopefully the 7 of us can gel and become a much better unit, for lack of a better term. I also want to, because I'm coming in right before the budget, from a short-term perspective, is I want to spend some time sort of understanding what are some of the fiscal constraints that we're going to have when it comes to construction, when it comes to school funding, things like that, so that when we vote here in May timeframe, I'm able to articulate what some of those needs should be, or those priorities should be. So that's probably the first things I want to focus on, outside of getting around and actually understanding the not only the community leaders, but the administration leadership, the various organizations and departments that make this whole this thing work, that make this county government work. And so I think I want to, at some point over the next 2 to 3 months, meet with these individuals to ask them what they need from us as a council, as a legislative body. And so that from a short term, that's probably what I want to focus on. I think long term, obviously, I think any successful environment or community is an educated one. And so I want to look at how can we be more efficient and productive when it comes to the education side of the house, when it comes to funding. Along with that, and I wouldn't be surprised if other members on the council had the same priorities as me. I think it's also important for us from a security standpoint, public safety standpoint, that we'd fund those things as well. And to be brutally honest, I think when it comes to the furloughs, I want to see if there's a way that I can help sort of bring that to an end, because a lot of these people in the county work tirelessly for the citizens here, and they deserve to be compensated appropriately, and they've made a lot of sacrifices. But I think, and you probably are familiar with this, and being in the military, when you're in a leadership position, it's important that you, what was it, mission accomplishment and troop welfare. And so I think that the troops, being everyone else in the county that's working to provide the services that allow families and businesses to be successful, that they're taken care of, because they're important as well. And so I want to, over the next couple of years, focus on what they need so that the community benefits from it.
Councilman, let's talk a little bit about your district. You've got a very interesting district. It's the northern part of the county. You've got the Baltimore-Washington International Airport right smack in the middle there in Linthicum. And then you've got areas that border the city that we've got jobless rates are kind of spiraling out of control in some of those communities. What specifically in your community are you finding that your citizens are saying that these are the largest needs for them in the county?
I think over the next 6 months, I'll continue to visit some of the community association meetings. Because what I wasn't able to do, unlike a traditional campaign, where you got to spend the next year and a half literally understanding every single issue within the communities, I wasn't sort of afforded that opportunity. So for me, it's been sort of a learn on the fly as quickly as possible while I sort of purged my way through this process. So some of the concerns that I've heard, for the most part, I don't necessarily think that it's a county issue. that can address those issues. It's more of a federal or even to some extent a state. So I think as a legislative body, we have to do a better job with partnering with these entities so that we can bring the appropriate jobs and/or businesses here that can make this county much more successful and attractive for these different organizations that want to call Anne Arundel County home. So over the next 6 months, I'm definitely going to sort of get more educated on some of those particular issues and try to find a way to sort of leverage the relationships that we have with the state officials as well as the federal officials to make sure that Anne Arundel County is always up there at the top of the priority list.
Well, we like being on the top of the priority list.
Absolutely.
Councilman, thanks for joining us today. We certainly know that I hear a lot from the citizens out there in District 1. They're excited, they're happy, and they're excited to have you. They really, you've made a good impression on your first 48, 72 hours on the job. So, so good job. Best of luck to you as you continue the rest of your service to the county.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And folks, we'll go ahead and take a break, but when we come back, there'll be more Week in Review. Stay with us. Welcome back. This week in Hot Topics, the Anne Arundel County Fire Department responded to more than 1,394 calls for service. This included more than 1,100 emergency medical calls and 105 fire calls. This week, firefighters worked to put out 2 fires that displaced 3 people. With us now to tell us more about these incidences is Division Chief Michael Cox of the Anne Arundel County Fire Department. Chief.
Around 11:47 a.m. on Sunday, March 25, 2012, Anne Arundel County firefighters responded to a reported dwelling fire in the 300 block of Green Aspen Court in the Severna Park area of the county. The first unit to arrive on the scene reported seeing visible fire from the rear of a 2-story single-family dwelling. At that time, additional resources were requested and an interior firefighting operations were initiated. There were 3 occupants home at the time of the fire, and they were able to escape without injury. The fire was discovered by one of the occupants when they noticed smoke in the rear portion of the dwelling. In all, it took 51 firefighters about 1 hour to bring the 2-alarm incident under control. 1 firefighter was injured during the incident. The firefighter, a 20-year-old male, suffered burns to his ears and neck while fighting the blaze. He was evaluated at the scene by fire department paramedics and ultimately transported to the burn unit at Johns Hopkins Bayview Medical Center in Baltimore via ground ambulance, where he was treated and later released. The fire, which originated in the rear portion of the home, caused an estimated $550,000 in damages. The exact cause of the fire remains under investigation. In another incident, around 3:38 p.m. on Monday, March 26, 2012, county firefighters again responded to a reported dwelling fire in the 8500 block of New Cut Road in the Severn area of the county. The first unit to arrive reported a single-family dwelling fully engulfed in flames with fire extending to the nearby brushy areas. Firefighters immediately began exterior firefighting operations. In all, it took firefighters about 30 minutes to contain and control the fires.
Thanks, Chief. Fire investigators did determine that the house located on New Cut Road was vacant. An investigation into the cause of the fire is underway. There were no injuries associated with the fire, and firefighters from BWI Thurgood Marshall Airport and Fort Meade Fire Department also responded and assisted in the incident.
In this week's Police Beat, Public Information Officer Justin Mulcahy has information about a deadly stabbing in Pumphrey and 2 men trying to rob someone at an ATM in Severna Park. Justin?
When officers arrived, they spoke with a 56-year-old female victim who reported that she was attempting to make a money withdrawal at that location when she was approached by 2 unknown male suspects. She was struck and knocked to the ground by one of the suspects, who then attempted to complete her transaction but was unsuccessful. Both suspects then fled on foot in an unknown direction. Several officers, along with assistance from K-9 and Aviation, were in the area but were unable to locate the suspects. The victim sustained minor injuries but refused medical treatment. This investigation is still ongoing. The suspects are described as two young white males, both about 6 feet in height, with thin builds, wearing jeans and dark hoodies. We're going to move on now to our second incident. That one took place on March 27th, right around 5:48 in the evening. That's when officers from the Northern District responded to the 300 block of Berlin Avenue in the Pumphrey community for a report of a stabbing. When officers arrived, they located the victim, a 41-year-old male lying on the sidewalk, suffering from multiple stab wounds to the upper torso. Fire department personnel transported the victim, later identified as Romonda Lee Young, age 41, of the 200 block of Bishop Avenue in Baltimore, to Harbor Hospital, where he was pronounced dead upon arrival. Homicide detectives responded to the scene and assumed responsibility for the investigation. The investigation, consisting of numerous witness interviews and evidence collected from the scene. Based on the preliminary investigation, it appears the victim was involved in an altercation with another individual, a male, that resulted in the victim being stabbed. The suspect subsequently fled that scene. Detectives have developed a person of interest in this incident, which is not believed to be a random act of violence. No charges have been placed at this time, and this investigation is ongoing. Anyone with information could contact Detective Shelley Guy at 410-222-3458. Now, folks, as always, if you have any information on any crimes or suspects mentioned on the show, don't hesitate to call, email, or text your tip to Metro Crime Stoppers hotline. That number is available 24 hours a day, toll-free at 1-866-7-LOCK-UP, or you can text message MCS plus your message to crimes at 274-637. You can also visit the website at www.metrocrimestoppers.net. Remember, phone calls are not recorded and callers remain anonymous. You might be eligible for a cash reward of up to $2,000. Back to you.
Thanks, Justin. I always try to use the ATM during the day and have someone with me when I'm using it. You also want to be aware of your surroundings and try to use an ATM inside as well as a lit ATM if you can.
Well, a lot of our departments rely heavily on volunteers because we have such an active community here in the county. The Department of Aging and Disabilities is one of those departments, and our own Mary Felter talked with one of the best when it comes to volunteers. Mary.
Thank you. Today we're at Hellas Restaurant in Millersville because we're at a luncheon to thank Harry Zoller, who is a longtime volunteer with the SHIP program at the Department of Aging and Disabilities. Also here is Amy Rubino, who is the director of the SHIP program for us. Welcome to the program. Tell me a little bit about what SHIP is, Amy.
Sure. The SHIP program is a senior health insurance assistance program, and our job is to help people with their Medicare-related questions. And we rely on volunteers who come in, learn about Medicare, then help out people in the community. And we currently have about 20 volunteers. 10 of them are new, and 10 of them have been here for a while. With the longest reigning SHIP volunteer is Harry Zoller, who started back in 1993 and has been providing this service continually at the Pascal Senior Center.
And the volunteers receive training?
That's correct. Because Medicare is very difficult to understand, the training is long, and it takes sometimes 3 to 6 months before a volunteer is ready to train or to volunteer and counsel solo.
And you go out to the senior centers and at the office to take care of these questions seniors have?
That's correct. We offer the service at the Heritage Office Complex and then at the senior centers by appointment.
So today we're going to honor Harry Zoller, who is from Severna Park. Harry is 90. He has a Facebook account. He's going to be moving down to North Carolina after almost 20 years volunteering with us. And I wanted to say thank you for all your contributions, Harry.
Well, it's been a pleasure. I thank the Anne Arundel County for giving me a chance to volunteer because it's enriched my life.
That's good to hear. I understand that you started first in the Volunteer Income Tax Program. Is that correct?
Yes, I retired in 1986, and I was traveling for a couple of years, a lot. And then one morning I saw in the Gazette that they needed tax volunteers. And I said, well, I've done that before, so I can do that. So I started volunteering in the tax program.
And then how did you hear about SHIP?
Well, after we had been doing taxes for 2 or 3, 4 years, someone came in and said, I think it was the RSVP program, and said, you guys are just right for us because you're smart and you're doing taxes and all that sort of thing, and you can volunteer for the the SHIP program. So I thought about it and I said, well, I need to know that anyway, so I'll do it. So I volunteered.
Well, thank you very much for doing that. And tell me some of the stories you said yesterday when I talked to you about the interesting people that come in and how they've handled life.
Well, I can't talk about anyone in particular, but hear people that have had physical handicaps, mental handicaps come in, and they need help. And I usually try to find out what their real problem is, and after they talk a while, they sort of figure it out themselves. They own up to their problem and they start thinking about how they can handle it. And some people, though, as they get older, their faculties are dimmed and they really need advising. And I do the best I can with them, and I try to disagree without being disagreeable and try to buck them up, and I try to have them leave smiling and sort of thinking about they believe in themselves again.
Well, Harry, I know that Amy has really appreciated what you have done, and we want to let people know if they want to do what you've done, which is volunteer and help seniors. What's the best number they should call Amy to get information?
Sure, the number is 410-222-4464, extension 3080.
Thank you for talking to us today about SHIP program, and congratulations to you, Harry. And the volunteer program down in North Carolina is really lucky to have you.
Amy gave me a recommendation.
Oh, thanks, Amy. We really appreciate it. This is Mary Felter, Public Information Officer for Anne Arundel County Department of Aging and Disabilities, and for a Week in Review. Back to the studio.
Thanks, Mary. You love to hear about committed volunteers like that. You just know that people that are out there really appreciate the help that they're providing.
In this week's Community Spotlight, Jody Leddy is out in West County to recognize community leaders who've made significant contributions to education and public safety. Jody?
Hi, I'm Jody Leddy, and I'm here today at the Hotel at Arundel Preserve with Claire Louder, who is the president and CEO of the West Anne Arundel County Chamber of Commerce. Tonight, there's a very special event happening here at the Hotel at Arundel Preserve, and Claire's going to tell us all about it and some very special people who are going to be recognized this evening.
Jody, this is one of my favorite events of the year. It's our Celebrate Community Awards Gala, and it's our opportunity to recognize the educators, public safety officers, and a military service member of the year who really contribute to making West Anne Arundel County special.
That's wonderful. So the honorees don't know that they're being awarded tonight, is that correct?
No, most of them they know that they've been nominated, but we will select winners in most of the categories, and the winners, who I'm going to tell you about tonight, don't know that they're winning the awards.
Okay, fantastic. So tell us about the event tonight. What's going to happen?
So we have 340 people coming to dinner tonight. This is our first year at the Hotel at Arundel Preserve. In the past, we have had to go to the airport, actually, and we're so thrilled to have a hotel right here in West Anne Arundel County, as beautiful as this one, to have our event at.
Okay, so don't make us wait any longer. Tell us who the winners are this year.
All right. Well, as our educators of the year at the elementary level, we have Alfred Lucarelli from Severn Elementary School and Kelly Shell Ramey from Waugh Chapel Elementary School. We had such outstanding applicants from the elementary school category, we couldn't decide, and we had to choose two. At the middle school level, Zachary Jones from Arundel Middle School, and from our high schools, Crystal Hansen of Arundel High School. And then we also present an Administrator of the Year. They're the people that really are the glue that hold the schools together, and that is Dawn Young from Odenton Elementary School. And then this year we have a very special surprise award. I'm really glad this is not airing until Friday. Bill Shepard of Meade High School is receiving a Lifetime Achievement Award. He actually retired before ever receiving an award. He always wrote awards for everyone else, and we wanted to make sure to give him a special award this year. Then our public safety officers, we have Lieutenant George Wallace from Dorsey Station as our 2012 Firefighter of the Year. Officer Jeffrey Jackson is our 2012 Police Officer of the Year. Deputy Joseph Dillon and Deputy David Garcia are sharing our Sheriff's Deputy of the Year. And finally, not to be forgotten, our Military Service Member of the Year is Staff Sergeant Daniel DeCook of the U.S. Air Force, Chief Photojournalism Team of the Defense Information School.
That's great. Thank you, Claire. And thank you to all these community leaders for being a part of keeping Anne Arundel County the best place to live. And I'm glad we could be in this beautiful venue today. And Claire, you're always a pleasure to work with, so thank you for being here. And have a wonderful event tonight.
Thanks very much, Jody. We're looking forward to a great night.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jody. We want to thank Claire Lauder as well for her years of service to make West County a better place. I'm sure we'll be hearing from her soon.
And where in the world is our own Carolyn Ryan this week, you ask? Oh, wait, I hear that sound. It's a quacking sound and an oinking sound. What is that? Ah, it must be Kinder Farm Park. That's where our own Carolyn Ryan is this week. Carolyn.
We're here at Kinder Farm Park, where they're taking part in a new wood duck program. And I'm joined by Ranger Nolley Fisher, who's going to give us some more information on this new program. Thanks for being on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Now, Nolley, tell us a little bit about exactly what this is that's behind us.
This is an artificial nesting box for wood ducks. This here is the box and the cavity that we hope they will be nesting in. We have predator guards on each box to prevent snakes and raccoons from getting into the eggs, and we're pretty excited. We're hoping, we got 5 of these around the park now, and we're hoping that one nesting pair will nest in our box.
Great. Now tell us a little bit about the Maryland Wood Duck Initiative.
The Maryland Wood Duck Initiative is a volunteer-based program which is trying to increase the population of Maryland, or wood ducks in Maryland, and also generate awareness of the wetland habitats that these wood ducks use daily for nesting and feeding, etc.
Okay, and what is the goal here at Kinder Park?
The goal here at Kinder Park is to become part of that program and not only increase the state's population, but maybe increase the Kinder Farm Park population and invite these waterfowl to use our park more frequently. We have seen at least 6 pairs this year, and we're hoping that at least one will use one of the 5 boxes.
Great. Now, is this something, we're a little off the beaten path here. Now, are these in places where the general public can see them when they come to the park?
3 of the ones that we've put out that we're really hopeful for are off the beaten path, and in locations similar to this, but there will be 2 others that are in our ponds within the park, and the public will be able to see them.
Okay. And how can the public get involved?
We are always looking for volunteers for all our programs, but especially this one. It's a new one. We need people for monitoring. We need people for helping put up boxes, maintain boxes, clean out boxes. And if they'd like to get involved not only at Kinder, but with the Maryland Wood Duck Initiative, they can go to their website. They can also check them out on Facebook. And the executive director for Maryland Wood Duck Initiative, who also is a volunteer, his email address is cliftonabrown@aol.com. So he's definitely the person you want to get in touch with.
Great. Now, for more information on the wood duck boxes here at Kinder Park, more information just on Kinder Park in general, you can visit our website, www.aacounty.org/recparks. Thanks. Back to you guys at the studio.
Thanks, Carolyn. You know what they say, if it quacks like a duck. Oh, never mind. I did say it was a family show, didn't I?
You
I
did.
can't go into that.
You did.
Ladies and gentlemen, Johnelka Stafford.
Thank
Johnelka,
you.
Great first show.
Thank you so much.
You did a wonderful job. As we told you last week, we're kind of bringing through a number of county employees, so you get to see many faces of the people that serve the citizens of Anne Arundel County. Johnelka works for our Minority Affairs and Human Relations Office.
Yes.
And does a fabulous job for the
Thank
citizens.
you.
Tell us a little bit about
so
what you do down there, Johnelka.
Well, I work very closely with Ms. Evola Peters, who is the Special Assistant to Human Relations and Minority Affairs for County Executive Leopold. And at this time, Anne Arundel County is not legislated to actually investigate complaints of harassment, but that is something that we are actively working toward. At this time, I like to consider our office a resource hub. We receive tons of calls on a daily basis, people looking for information on health care, information on housing, and we are able to provide those resources by referring them to other agencies. Now, when we do get a harassment complaint or a complaint of discrimination, we have resources like the Maryland Commission on Civil Rights, as well as the EEOC. So we're here to help. We're definitely here to help.
As are most county employees. Thank you for the service that you provide down there.
Yes.
Janelka, I always like to end with something a little out there and a little crazy.
Okay.
I heard, here's what I've been hearing.
Okay.
Do you watch reality shows at all?
I do.
Okay, so you're not afraid to admit that you watch
I
a few reality shows here and there.
Just a few.
Well, they do their 15 minutes of fame on the reality show, and now, have you heard what some of these stars are doing?
Making a living.
they're making a living on a reality show, but now you can call them. You can call one of your favorite reality show stars. $20 a minute. You can call a reality show
Wow.
star. Now, is there anybody out there, reality show star, famous person, anybody that you would say, I would pay $20 a minute to talk to that person?
$20 a minute. That's a hard one. I'm gonna have to say, absolutely not.
Really?
Now, how about you?
There's one person out there, the guy that knows the numbers to the Mega Millions.
Well, hey,
I would pay $20 a minute to talk to him because I want to know what those numbers are.
Especially today.
$500 million.
I'll take it.
No reality show star. Sorry, Jay. What's that girl from Jersey Shore?
Snooki.
Sorry, Snooki. Sorry, Mike
Snooki.
Boogie from Big Brother. But
not gonna happen.
I'm not calling you for $20 a minute. But Mr. Mega Millions, I want your number. Folks, that wraps up this week's edition of Week in Review. You can watch this episode online anytime at www.aacounty.org. Archive episodes are always available at flip.tv and on YouTube. You can also subscribe to the free video podcast at iTunes or like us. Yeah, go ahead and do that on Facebook at Arundel TV. Please tune in again next week for more news and highlights from around your county. We'll see you next time.